Hi, everybody. My name is Joe Leavell. I'm one of the counselors here at BCA, and I wanted to share with you a story from my backyard here about one of my trees. And I'm going to show you this tree here in a minute as kind of an illustration of what some of the struggles of life can sometimes be like. This particular tree is 4 years old, and it's actually the third tree that has been in this spot in 10 years. So if that tells you a little bit about how good I am at landscaping, well, there we go. First one we had to take out, it had some problems. But the second one, I had to redo the water system a bit, and I am not good at landscaping at all. So when I put the new tree in, it just started dying, and it lasted about 6 months or so, and it just gave up and died. And so I thought the problem was with the tree. So the next year, bought this tree, and it started dying. And I started looking into it, being like, what's going on? So maybe it's not getting enough water. And I checked the drip system, and I'm like, there's hardly anything coming out of this thing, and I don't know why. So it was middle of summer, and I'm not going to dig the whole thing out in summer. So we just watered it all year with just kind of supplemental water, and it didn't die, which was great. It didn't die. So we made it the next year, and busyness of life, we didn't really pay much attention to it, but we kept trying to water it. And I thought I was going to have to dig out the entire sprinkler system, thinking it was this main huge issue. So didn't make it a priority. And the next year, which again tells you about my abilities in landscaping, and again, it didn't die. So last year, this spring, I went ahead and dug it out and figured out what happened was when I put in the drip system for this tree, there's a little connector that goes into the main part of the pipe for the actual drip system. And I didn't know what I was doing, so I just got whatever I could find. And I got the smallest amount of water, the connection that allowed the smallest amount of water to go through the pipe. And so it was just like very, very small amount of water coming to this thing. So the problem was completely mine, and got it fixed this spring and put a new drip system in. I did some research and did right fertilizer, and I've spent an entire year on this tree working on getting it back to a place of health. An entire year. Do you know what it looks like after an entire year? Do you know what happened to it? It didn't die. And that's about it. If you look at it, does this look like a tree that I've spent an entire year cultivating? No, no, it doesn't. It didn't grow a lot, but you know what it did do? It didn't die. There's some leaves on this thing, and it's actually spent the entire year recovering from 3 years of being abused and neglected. And sometimes in our lives, people come to us for biblical counseling, and they're like, well, I don't understand why things aren't changing faster. I don't understand why I've been putting in all this effort. I've been putting all this time and energy into my life and my marriage and my church and these different things where like I feel like I should be healthy now, and even though like it's been an entire year or even more time. And they're like, well, what is the win here? And sometimes the win in your life is that you didn't die. And sometimes that's actually literally true. Some of you are struggling with depression or deep issues, and you want to go home, and you would love for you're just trying to hang on. And for you, a good day is the fact that you didn't die. And I want to encourage you to look at this tree that, well, maybe if we're still here 5 years from now and it hasn't grown at all, I mean, we're going to look back at my abilities and say like, oh, well, again, the problem was probably Joe. But I fully expect this year it spent the entire year recovering from what happened, and it's solidifying roots underground, and maybe there's things that I can't see that's going on for it to get healthy again to the place to where next year, next 2 years, this thing's going to start growing and start going to take off because now it's getting what it needs. And so if you're in a place where you're like, I've been doing the work and I've been growing, I would encourage you from Galatians 6 where Paul says to not grow weary in doing good, because in due season we will reap if we do not faint or don't lose heart. And so I hope that you will hang on, that like my tree, you will take the time to cultivate it and to nurture it, but just please be patient, whether it's in your marriage, whether it's in your life. It's been a rough season for a lot of people. We're coming out of a pandemic, and want to just encourage you, please hang on. And hopefully, as you continue to nourish your life with God's word, with being surrounded in a place of health, that you will continue to grow. Thanks much.